Well, God bless you, Pastor Flores. God bless you. Good to be here tonight. Well, Pastor Flores, we're online.
Yes,
Thursdays sure feel good.
it does. It
Thursdays
really
feel
does.
absolutely good. We're just waiting for others to join in. We want to thank those who, especially those who are regular board visitors. We want to especially thank those who may be new visitors to the program. And we thank God for you. We give God praise for you. Thank you all. We see Mary Cannon has joined in. Amen. We thank God for you. But we thank God again,
Amen.
Pastor Flowers, for this day and for all that God has done. We're going to wait just a little bit because I want to talk to you about some things and stuff. But we're excited about some things that we're doing in the church. One of the things
Amen.
we're doing, and I'm going to say this at the beginning, one of the things that we're doing is we're starting a ministry. Ministerial teaching. We started on last night. The first thing we started dealing with is the character that needs to be developed or need to be found in those that every calling, not just some, every part of the fivefold. And next week we're dealing with the first ministry gift. But I want you to keep this in mind. How you doing, Mary? God bless you. Pastor Flowers will be doing a special teaching from her book. We're going to talk about this in her book in a few minutes. That following week, when we deal with the prophetic gift that's in the body of Christ, and I would encourage you to come on out and be a part of it. You will be blessed. I believe it will certainly encourage whatever level of ministry that you're in, and I believe everybody, not just those who are prophets and those who are in the prophetic ministry.
Yes, can benefit.
Everybody can benefit from it, and so we encourage you to come on out and get firsthand with the teaching that Pastor Flowers will be doing on the week after next and stuff. And I guarantee it'll be a blessing to you. And while we're on that subject and stuff, we do want to remind you about about this awesome book. It may come upside down with you, but I can tell you, name of this prophetic ministry empowerment, keys to successful prophetic ministry. Prophetess Pastor Flowers wrote this, and I guarantee you, it will be a blessing. It's the Go book. So when you go on Amazon.com, you may see a book that's supposed to be out of published. It's a blue book. That's not the book that we're offering you, telling you that's going to be a blessing to you. It's the gold one. You go on Amazon.com. You can put in Prophetess Ruth Flowers, Pastor Ruth Flowers, and this book will come up. And I guarantee you, it will be a blessing to your ministry. And as I was saying beforehand, you don't have to be a prophet or a prophetess to benefit from this. And I guarantee you, what this will do is it will make you a better listener to the spirit of what somebody's saying when they claim to be prophesying. They claim to be being used by the spirit of God in the way of prophecy. So again, the prophetic ministry empowerment, keys to successful prophetic ministry by Prophetess Ruth Flowers. I guarantee you, it will be a blessing. People are buying it. Churches are using it. In the ministerial classes and stuff. So and it's not just being bought in the United States. Even before this new edition, which is the best edition, people were all outside the country buying it. She has had people write what you call them now, where they write things, testimonials about how the book has been a blessing to them. So I'm encouraging you, please, again, to be
easy to read, easy to understand, easy to go by.
Yes.
Questions that you had, but now they're answered.
Absolutely, and it's in a format. It's in a format. I don't know if you can see it, but she wrote it and stuff. But it's in a format that it makes it easy to read, and you can take notes while you're reading. So that helps you.
In there for your notes.
Absolutely. So it helps you to remember what you're reading, and helps you. To keep in mind the information
and
that's
budding
being
prophets, that'll be a blessing.
Oh gosh, yes. So please go by again, prophetic ministry, empowerment keys to a successful prophetic ministry by Prophetess Ruth Flowers. You can go to Amazon.com and order this book, and I guarantee you, it's worth more than what it's being charged for. And I'm not just saying it because of my wife. I'm saying it because I know it's a good work. Also, we're offering, and next broadcast, hopefully we'll have our other two books here, but we're offering you also, this has been published, and we're absolutely excited about these books. This is one of the first books that the Lord dealt with me about, securing covenants in your relationships, putting everything on the table for clarity. This book deals with every level of relationship that you're in, from dating to singles, We have a book specifically for singles, but this deals with every aspect of your relationship, helps you to understand the healing process, the deliverance process, the nurturing process, things you shouldn't do, things you should do, but it helps you to understand how to deal with issues, how to deal with certain challenges in your relationship. And the next one is, I love this one just as much. This is the intimacy of a real and healthy relationship. Clarity, openness, and honesty. Honest attention is the key. Honest attention. This book teaches the power of being not just married or not just intimate in your relationship, but the qualities and the things you need to keep that intimacy strong. And if it's been lost or being challenged, how to protect it and stuff. And it's really, okay. Real, I don't know, the light shining on it pretty good. Okay, you hold on. Oh, there you go. There you can see it. Yes. So now, again, this one is, it's kind of hard to see it. The light's kind of shining off of it, but the name of it is The Intimacy of a Real and Healthy Relationship. Clarity, openness, and honest attention is the key. Honest attention, and what we're meaning here is you're not just there. You're not just feeling like you're paying attention, but all of you, you're really there. That means you can work with, demonstrate, play back exactly what's being said. And then the other one is securing the covenants of your relationship, putting everything on the table, so the enemy won't be able to use nothing as if it was a lie or against your relationship later. So you can get these books at Amazon.com. You can put our names in it, whether you put Apostle Anthony T. Flowers or Anthony T. Flowers or Apostle Anthony Flowers. You can find our books there, Prophetess Ruth Flowers, or Pastor Ruth Flowers. Any of those combinations, you can put our names in there, and you can get any of these books. And one of the books that we pushed on the last broadcast that I believe is important, especially in this season, is one that deals with depression. And we will we will be able to show you that book on the next broadcast, because we just ordered our author's copy of it, and as well as the singles that deals with single relationships. Are you ready? And that deals with that. You can also get that at Amazon.com. But Pastor Flowers, we're excited about this work.
Yes.
You know, it's been a long time in the making. God has been dealing with us. These books didn't come overnight. The Lord, it was a process that the Lord gave. We didn't just throw these together because we wanted to make money. The Lord walked us through this. There are some things we've experienced, some of the things we had to grow from and grow into.
Yes.
That makes this such an important, personal, intimate work that God has really, truly blessed us to do. So please go by Amazon.com and purchase your copy. Even go by and bless somebody for Christmas. You know, it's okay to go and buy the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, even all that kind. It's good. Go get that. But you know, after Christmas over, sometimes G.I. Joe goes in the corner. Yeah. But you can always feed off of this information. So please stop on by and be a blessing to somebody.
See if you get a better picture here.
I don't know. See if you can get a better.
No.
Now it looks. You can see it now. But we may have to change the lighting next time.
Okay.
Because the lighting sometimes it bounces off and it makes it hard to see. But you can see it real good there. But because it's
empowerment, prophetic ministry empowered.
Yes. By
Prophetess Ruth Flowers. Amen. It will be a blessing to you.
Amen. So please stop by. Well, tonight we're in the last teaching that deals with this series, unless the Lord gives us something else. But we've been dealing, unless He says do another one. But I think we've come to I think it was 4 sessions. We did 3 or 4 sessions, and I think it's important that we've dealt with this subject, and it deals with family, because we don't want to get in the habit of hypocrite.
That's true.
And what I mean is we don't want to just get excited and talk about family and talk about things we ought to do with family just because it's a holiday. Because it gives families and gives other generations that look on this a false impression that I'm gonna get to know the rest of my family, I'm gonna grow with the rest of my family, and I'm gonna understand the dynamics of what a healthy and whole family is, and then that urge usually goes away when a holiday goes away, and or when something that has happened that has been tragic and stuff. And we make promises, and we said this at the first teaching when we first brought it up. When something tragic happens, we start making promises because we don't want to feel that tragedy again.
That's right.
We don't want to feel that thing that makes us feel out of place or displaced again, and stuff. And usually what happens after it's over, that fades away, and we don't seem to garner or hold on to or possess the energy to carry out what we said that we had when we said it. You know, and that's the most amazing and disrupting thing.
Sometimes things are said out of the passion of a moment, and out of the passion of a moment, many times you say all the right things. Unless you're upset, but when you're not upset, in the passion of the moment, sometimes you say all the right things, We got to get together. We got to stop all of this here. We got to squash this. Everything, all of those statements is right. But now you got to own those statements.
Absolutely.
You got to do what it takes in order to squash it.
Absolutely.
Do what it takes in order to, come together as a family.
Absolutely.
And it takes work. And
Yes.
it takes a commitment.
Yes.
Many times you see families say, well, you know what, we got to get together. We got to have a family reunion. We got to do this. But you got to get together with a commitment.
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
all have been guilty of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not doing the things that we can do to make the family unit as tight as we know our forefathers would have wanted it to be.
Most
and
definitely.
we should have it.
And Pastor Fathers, you were saying it, as you were saying, it takes more work to do it than it is to say it.
Yes.
It's and please don't get me wrong.
It sounds good.
It's the right thing
to do.
Yes, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to want to know your family, where they come from, what's going on with everybody,
Yes.
what everybody's doing. That's the right thing to do. We should want that. But you got to understand that when you say that, when you make that verbal commitment, that first of all, let's be real. The enemy is going to challenge you and make you remember some of the things that gave you a reason why you didn't want to be around some of your family. He's going to bring up some of those issues.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what's going to happen? Some of those people that manifested those things and stuff may not change.
That's true.
They may show a position of change when tragedy hits, or when a moment that that brings such joy like holidays come. They may suspend that bad attitude, or that they may suspend that mouth that seems to not be able to stop and stuff. But when everything relaxes, that mouth may go back to the same position, saying the same things, doing the same thing again. But that should not stop you, because remember, if you own what you say, you must own the action behind it as well. And not let someone else stop you from what you know is going to make your family stronger and more healthier, and it's going to help the generation after you to understand the strength of what the good gatekeepers or the forefathers,
our parents and our parents' parents,
absolutely,
and, their idea of what family should have been or should
absolutely.
be. We got a job to do.
I think Pastor Flowers are the generations after us need to know what we know about our parents, which is their grandparents. How some of our parents worked hard. They struggled. They didn't have it easy. And I'm not. This is not just let me be honest. It's not just a racial thing I'm talking about now. I'm talking about there are a lot of parents across the board that had hard times. There's been this struggle.
That's where we are.
Yes, there has been dysfunctions and hardships in every family that you can name across the board. Where there have been families that did not know or could not do. Were poor, and I mean I'm talking about real poor. I'm not talking about you didn't have the luxuries like you didn't have 2 bathrooms, you had 1. No, there's some that had outhouses. Yes, there were some that that didn't have running water on the inside. They had to go outside and use a pump. And some had the pump on the inside. They didn't have and that came with earlier years. But then some that just didn't have what what some of us enjoy today. Some of our younger generation need to understand the endurance that has been built in our family line because of the genes that was passed down by our parents.
Right.
They need to understand.
Many of our parents taught us how to make it in hard times.
Yes.
Because they had hard times.
Absolutely.
And you look at it and you say, well, I thank God that my mother, she was able to teach me how to make it and not, flip out just because something went wrong.
Absolutely.
Flip out because you don't have all the ingredients, or flip out because the money's not coming in as quick as you wanted to come in. There's things that you looked at your parents do and you learn from them, and then you can go on.
Absolutely. And we need to be able to teach this to our children, and not just show them how angry we can be, how we can just dismiss family members because family members are not like us, or family members seem to keep doing something crazy and stuff. We can't keep allowing ourselves to make excuses because of the behavior of other family members, and we won't get strong enough to be able to go past that and build strong family connections, a strong family unity. Because listen, the saying they used to say, don't let one monkey stop the show.
Yeah.
One bad apple should not spoil the bunch.
Exactly.
All these things we used to say, we don't live by it much in the family. No. We let one person sometimes keeps us from a family unit.
That was the question that I was going to pose. There are some people who are having issues in their family because this group here doesn't get along with that group there,
right.
Or this family member here doesn't had an issue with that family member there. So in order to love them both, you have to love them separately. Ooh. Which means if this one is around, you gotta sort of act a certain way in order to not have this one upset with you.
Right.
But we have to come to a point that we have to come to a point where we can tell them, you know what, Uncle John, I know that you have a problem with Aunt Mary.
Mm-hmm.
You and Aunt Mary got to work it out.
Absolutely.
Because we love you both.
Absolutely.
And we want to see you both get it together.
Absolutely.
And whether you ever work it out, know this, Uncle John, I'm going to love Aunt Mary.
Absolutely.
Know this, Aunt Mary, I'm going to love Uncle John.
Absolutely.
So y'all got to work this thing
Absolutely.
out.
You cannot, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You cannot let family members rent away your passion for both
Yeah.
because the other one can't stand seeing you show love and concern and care for the other.
And it's bad.
You can't, again, we
Uncle John can't think that I don't love him
absolutely
because I show concern and love for Aunt Mary. And Aunt Mary can't think that I don't love her because I show love and concern for Uncle Mary. Uncle John, what they need to understand is I'm just not gonna have nothing to do with it. You know, I'm gonna pray for y'all both,
absolutely.
But I'm not gonna choose sides.
And we need to put them on. Look, I need you to grow up so I can show love to both of you.
Yes.
I can't have you pulling me one way or the other and stuff.
Because our kids are watching.
Absolutely. Our kids are watching. Our kids are watching it. And let someone say, our grandchildren are watching. Yes. Everybody's watching to see what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And if you do not do anything about it differently, your children and your grandchildren is going to repeat that same thing. And it's only going to get worse and stuff. It's easy to say, look, I've tried so much with my family and my family just don't change. Well, the problem is, it's not that your family won't change, it's that you keep changing. You keep allowing their behavior to keep you from the passionate feelings that you know you can give to your family, that you can give to other people. Because you say you just don't want to go through the dilemma that you have to go through when you have to deal with somebody that's just not functional. Well, you don't let them put everything on hold that you can do towards your family. Either they fall in line and stop, or they won't. But the bottom line is, you don't show the kind of love so they won't make excuses and stuff and have a reason to keep acting the way they act because they may not want you there. There may be people in your family we may not like this. So I want you to buckle yourself up. That's a great saying, but I don't want to offend you. But you may have some people in your family that's used by demons.
Yeah.
Your family, listen, in all of our families, we have some dysfunctional people that are used by the enemy.
Yes.
And they feel better when the family is away because they can then manipulate certain people in the family when everybody's not talking. Don't let the devil do that.
But you know, in some families, Apostle, there are some that Satan would use as a sword of discord.
Absolutely.
When the family is getting along good, this person will come in, and before you know it, they've thrown a monkey wrench in everything.
Absolutely.
And everybody's mad with everybody, and this one's upset, and that one's not talking to this one. And when this discord is happening, then that person who was the sword of discord in the family, they're okay.
But you know what the problem is, though, Pastor? The problem is not just the person sowing the discord. The problem is the people that's allowing that person to sow the discord, and they're never bringing them together.
When they know that they're troublemakers.
Yes, sir. And here, look, if you know that every time it seems like everything is going smooth and you're making progress in your family, this one or two people or whoever it is always comes up with a reason why you should not trust that family member. Don't stop. I'm sorry. Don't stop there. Don't let it die right there. Say, okay, you know what we need to do? Let's call them in. Let's find out what the problem is.
I better stop it.
I better to stop it.
Yes.
The reason why they keep getting away with this is because people keep getting offended by evidence that they don't know is real. They keep taking in somebody will tell you something that's in the family. You trust them. You haven't really built a relationship with the other person. They keep telling you that you shouldn't trust because you keep going off of what they say. Don't keep going off what they say. Bring it if they really mean business, if they really mean to help you, because some will come. Let's be honest about our family. Some will come and say, I just want you to know, I'm not trying. I love them just like I love you and stuff and everything. So I want you to know you shouldn't put all your stock there. And here's the thing you need to understand, and this just came to my mind. If they love them the way they say they love you, and they're bringing you bad information about them, or they're bringing them bad information about you too.
As they said, the person who bring a bone will carry a bone.
And the only way you're going to stop that is take them and that bone.
Yes.
And take yourself to the person that they're trying to bring division.
And heal your family. Let's go deal with this. If they said this here, let's go deal with this. We are family. Oh, no. We don't want to deal with it. Then you shouldn't have bought it.
Absolutely. You know what?
I am a proactive person.
Yes.
If you bring it to me, we're going to work it out.
Absolutely. We're going to deal with this.
We're going to
deal with this and stuff because we don't need to keep doing this. If there is something that you feel that I need to look out for in this family member, then we need to go and find out why this family member is like this, or at least why you feel this is the way this family member is.
And then some people say, well, you just want to stir up trouble. That's why you want to go to them. No, you came and brought it to me. Absolutely. You're the one that wanted to stir up trouble. I'm trying to search peace.
Absolutely.
Now, the Bible says that if I feel that my brother had an ought against me, then I ought to go to them.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
Now if my brother feel that, then my family member feel that, I still should be able to go to them and sit down and reason together and have enough sense to understand that when the discussion starts to turn to an argument, know how to back out.
Absolutely. So
don't let the enemy push that door open even wider.
Absolutely. So again, and I just tagging on what you said, some may say yes, no, you just want to start trouble. So I'm supposed to stay in this position. I'm struggling in my heart against someone
because something you
that
said.
Yes, and I only know half of the story.
Because you said it.
The Bible is clear about something. It tells us to come to a conclusion about a matter before we know all.
Heard all the evidence.
Before we heard all the evidence. So we should have that same principle for families. If you have a problem, certainly I don't want you to keep struggling with them either. And I certainly don't want to be transferred on to struggle with a problem and stuff that I haven't experienced. That hasn't been my experience with them. So why should I just buy it from your mouth when we can solve it so you don't have it in your heart no more and I won't have it in my conscience? Yeah. So let's go ahead and solve it. So when we have family reunions, I won't be on one side and they'll be on the other side and we all family and stuff. And sometimes what's so bad is some of y'all even have family reunions at the church. You'll have family day at your church where everybody's not talking, where everybody's still having problems or issues with each other. You'll hear a message, somebody say a hard amen, and they're saying that hard amen not because they believe that it's right for them and it's so, but because they believe they hit auntie over there. Just got auntie over there, just stepped on her feet, and you hitting cousin hitting cousin unstable, because a cousin unstable feels the same way you. You look at aunt, look at aunt here come over there, look how she looking. The Lord got her, didn't
I bet she ain't say no amen. They talking about her.
Don't make no sense. Don't make no sense that we're not listening to the messages and we're not doing the right thing to make our family strong. If we're going to do anything from the holiday of Thanksgiving to Christmas to New Year's where we make resolutions, let's do one thing. Don't just take your church there. Don't just take your brothers and sisters that are prayer partners there. Take your family there too. Make sure that you're at the altar of the new year, healing, forgiving, and releasing family members that have done some things and they were very offensive. Absolutely. And I do not, Pastor, we are not saying that family members don't do things that are offensive. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying some family members have done some things to you that has really made you upset and really has hurt you. They have.
Yes.
But too long, for too long, we've held these things, we've held ourselves hostage to offenses that our family members have done instead of going after a place to heal it and then go forward. We can't keep holding on.
And the bad part about it, sometimes they may not even know that you got offended by it. They may not even know that you got hurt by it.
Absolutely.
You know, because you kept it to yourself and they thought, well, they're acting funny. I don't know what they're acting funny for. I ain't never did nothing to them, when in actuality you did, but just didn't know it.
Absolutely.
So, give them the opportunity to correct it. Give them the opportunity to say, look, I didn't mean it that way. Give them the opportunity to say, I'm sorry if that hurt you, but that's not the way I meant it. And
absolutely.
you would be amazed at how much freer that you would feel just by helping to fix that situation.
Absolutely. And don't take for granted, or don't get what you said, that thing you use it, put your wings down.
Yeah.
When you're going to solve something, put your wings down.
Put your wings up.
Don't assume that just because they said, don't come to a position that when they say, I didn't know you were hurt, that they were trying to be smart or they were trying to be inconsiderate. They may not have known that what they were saying, that you took it in the way that you took it. We say when we deal with married couples, don't just walk around the house and be frustrated with one another. Right. Give the person that you're frustrated with, give your spouse the opportunity to explain what you're offended about.
Yeah.
Because they, one or two things, they didn't explain it as clear as they felt it. You didn't hear it as clear as they meant it. And both of you are going on both sides of the avenue, wondering why the other one's upset, when clarity is the only problem in the room. Not each other, just clarity is the only thing in the room. And the thing that can solve that is that you take clarity to the table of communication and you talk about what you're offended over.
Exactly.
If you do that, you can solve some things. You won't walk around with a lack of information, lack of clarity, and being upset. And the only problem is, as we said before, the only problem is lack of clarity. And if you do that, we can go to the next level.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you.
But I think sometimes the thing that bothers people, if the lack of clarity means I have to be answerable.
Right.
I don't have to be answerable to this one. I don't have to be answerable to that one. I got to explain myself to this. For the sake of love and peace and family, be able to be answerable.
Absolutely.
Don't mind being answerable. Be subject to one another.
Absolutely.
Love one another enough for that.
Absolutely.
I love you enough to take time to sit down and see, can't we squash this?
Absolutely. And let's hit one more thing, Pastor Father, before we get into this. Some family members are mad with family members, other family members, because when you were going through some things, they weren't there.
Yeah.
You know, you had some struggles, you had some hardships, and you thought that that family member should have helped you. Well, here's 2 or 3 things that we need to think about. First of all, don't expect something from a family member that you haven't attempted to develop a relationship with.
Wow. Okay.
Don't just, well, you should have helped me because we're family. Well, you should be building a relationship because you're family. Don't expect.
You didn't make me feel like that you were open enough.
Absolutely.
For me to come in. If you've been a closed book and you've been, standoffish and stuff, and you're going through all of this, I'll pray and I'll do what I think is comfortable. But if it looks like you're trying to shut me out, then far be it for me to try to force my way in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the most encouraging thing, and just simplify it, and we're going to talk about a couple more things in this. It's simplified in this statement. Don't expect from family members' pockets when they can't get something from your heart.
Whoa, okay.
And so many times what happens is we get offended because family members' pockets are closed. When up to that point, your heart was, your life was, and stuff. So let's adjust this. Family members should not always be invited to your problems when they can't be invited to your praise, to your happiness, and to your joy. And that dysfunction is many times a thing that divides families, closes down bridges, closes down communications. If we're going to build strong families, let's build it from the heart first before we ask for the support that may come from the pocket and stuff. And so many times people are offended. And the second thing is sometimes there are family members that you talk to lightly. You may have a sporadic relationship with them. You may have a summertime relationship with them, but you have something that's being built on there and stuff. But you don't communicate when there's something wrong. You expect them to know because either you post it on social network. The worst thing you can do is communicate to people you say you love on social network. You tell everybody else your problem. You tell everybody else what you're going through and stuff. And you expect your family members to know you're talking to them when you talk to someone on social network. That's not fair to that family member. It's not fair. That would be most unfair if spouses did it. I'm having a problem with my husband. I need him to understand. I'm having a problem with my wife. I need her to understand. So we put it on Facebook.
The first time you hear about it is on Facebook.
Absolutely. So you put on Facebook, man, sometimes I feel so lonely. I know the enemy is challenging my marriage. I know it's challenging my home and stuff. So your spouse looks on there and says, I didn't know you was brought to this point. Why didn't you communicate to me? Because you weren't listening. Now here's a key thing now. Pastor Flies, I believe I can be a little bit right on this, and that is this. You say because you weren't listening, but could it also be because you weren't talking?
Yeah.
You already assumed that the other one would not listen, so you went somewhere else where you know you would get an audience.
And another thing too, give me season for growth.
Absolutely.
Maybe last year I wasn't a listener, but this year I could have been a listener if you had just talked to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the third most important one is this: if you're going through some hard times, and you have a loved one that has attempted to give you some advice, and you don't follow through, and the reason why you're back in something is because the advice that they gave you when they first helped you out of that, you didn't take it, and now all they want to offer you is advice, but you say you want more. Don't get mad with that person when you push away their advice because you thought that they will always be there when you continue to make bad decisions. And don't put that weight on your family relationship. Don't put that weight on each other in your marriages. Don't just dispose of each other's sound advice and continue to make the same kind of practices and choices and decisions that bring you back to the same problems. And then when you get to those problems, you expect your spouse to understand, and you expect family members to bail you out. That's not fair to family members. That's not fair to your marriage. That's not fair to your family. That's not fair to your home. Especially when we refuse good, sound, God-led, and Holy Ghost counsel. And then you find yourself in the same problems that your flesh made the choices to make. Don't do that to your family. If you can't accept advice from them, that's good advice. I'm not talking about they're trying to nose and get in your business. They're not trying to tell you what to do. You came to them for help, and they may have helped you at one time, and then they give you some advice and not get back to that again. You take the help, but you ignore the advice, and then you find yourself back into that. Don't offend your family relationships by ignoring advice, and then get mad when they find that you ignore the advice and you're back in the same problem, and because they didn't jump in and do the things that they did before, when they gave you the advice to not get back in it anymore. So let's do some real things. Let's do some real change in families.
And real taking responsibility.
Absolutely.
If you know that you're the reason behind the break, or know that you're the reason behind whatever has caused the division in the family, then you need to work real hard to try to help to close that gap.
Absolutely.
Help to close that breach.
Absolutely.
Because you were the one who did it.
Absolutely.
Who put forth the whatever it was to cause the gap in that with that particular family member or whatever. Work on it.
Family is worth putting down pride.
Yeah.
Family is worth saying, look,
well, they got to come get me. Why? You the one that walked off. You the one that started it.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying they won't, but you need to ask yourself the question: why should I wait for them to come and get me? Why should I wait for them to,
right, make
try to resolve it when I was the one who did it?
Right. Or, Pastor, if you want them to come get you, when they do come, be there.
Oh, that's true.
Don't just ask them to come get you, and then you disappear when they come looking for you. I'm talking emotionally, attentively,
yes.
and in a position of reasoning. Don't ask.
And it's not an opportunity to argue.
No.
When they come get you, it's not an opportunity. I got them now. They on my territory now. They in my house now. They came to my side of town now, and I'm gonna, if you're gonna do all of that, don't invite them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, one of the things as we get ready to get into this, and I just keep. I'm sorry, y'all. Excuse me. I keep glancing over there at that title. Hey, baby, niece, yes. I believe that the enemy likes this, and the title where it says "Unforgiveness is the most popular poison of the enemy."
Yes, it is.
Pastor Flores, I believe if the enemy from the church to our families, marriages to our families, if he can keep that poison of unforgiveness,
yes, people
will die off in relationships. Before you know it, all we'll have is people going by names. Going by, some superficial or shallow connection to a family lineage and stuff, but not knowing what it means to each other. Because when there's a void of connection and love, a last name means nothing.
It means nothing.
It means nothing. And so people don't feed into it. And all unforgiveness will do is continue to feed murder and feed death into that family line. And I'm not talking about natural death. I'm talking about spiritual and emotional, where after a while, family means nothing. And all you'll have is a bunch of people trying to get into different families, getting married rather, trying to develop or trying to fade away what they were coming from. And after a while, not only will the name fade away, the connection to the name will fade away. And you'll have nothing that symbolizes what our parents first started as a family. And their prayer was that I hope that my children stick together.
Yeah.
And I hope they teach their children to stick together. Yes. All right, hon.
Okay, unforgiveness, the most popular poison of the enemy. I like the message you preached on that one time. One of the statements that you made was sometime bitterness will cause us to take the poison, drink the poison, and look for the other person to die.
Absolutely.
Because we're holding on to bitterness. Unforgiveness is the single most popular poison that the enemy uses against God's people. And it is one of the deadliest poisons a person can take spiritually. It causes everything from mental depression to emotional dysfunctions to health problems such as ulcers and arthritis. I'm not saying that every single case of these physical problems is due to unforgiveness, but I am saying that where unforgiveness exists, it is a great chance that these and other sicknesses will tag along.
Most definitely. And Pastor Flowers, we need to be aware.
Scripture backs that up.
Yeah, you can read that if you will.
The scripture that backs that up is
Proverbs. Y'all gonna see me. I dropped my mouse on the floor, so excuse me as my wife reads this. You'll see me drop that because I'm trying to pick up my mouse. Okay, hon.
Proverbs 17:22 in the Amplified says, "A happy heart is a good medicine, and a cheerful mind works healing, but a broken spirit dries up the bones." Proverbs 17:22 says in another version, I don't know which one that is, it says, "A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones." Absolutely.
You know, Pastor Flowers, I saw a comment that my niece put up here that families are the hardest, and I think the reason why, and this is just my thought, is the reason why is that family members, when they're offended, take it so personal and take it at a level that the word doesn't apply to their offenses with families like it applies to their offenses with brothers and sisters in the church. They know when you're offended by someone in the church, they know quickly, let me get this off because the Bible tells me I need to forgive if I want to be forgiven. That applies. But we seem to forget that same rule that applies to God, about God's judgment and God's forgiveness and God's consideration of our prayers, applies the same and the same fervor with the offenses and the issues with our brothers and sisters as it does applies to our brothers and sisters in church. And so we're having brothers and sisters in families going around with bitterness and stuff while they're trying to forgive brothers and sisters in the church, walking around with bitterness and can't understand why their bodies are being attacked.
And some of them walk around dealing with loneliness and rejection because they just quit.
Yes.
You know, so much stuff happened in the family, so much not getting along, so much squabbling and stuff. They just quit.
Absolutely.
They acknowledge, yes, I'm a part of the picture family, but that's it.
Absolutely.
I don't go to the functions. They don't invite me to the functions. And I'm okay. And I just quit. But yet and still you're dealing with loneliness and you're dealing with rejection and not being a part of the family that you grew up in or that you became a part of.
Absolutely. And sometimes, Pastor Fathers, you just have to start out with one family member at a time.
One family member at a time.
You know?
Sometimes that's how you have to
Absolutely.
do it.
And sometimes, I know our fervor sometimes it gets to us and we say, you know what, I'm gonna have a family meet because I'm gonna have a family reunion. Sometimes it's the worst idea. Sometimes what's good is get started one family member at a time, because I guarantee you, if you call all the family members together, that one that wants to always bring up problems, that one that always wants to come up with issues, they're going to come too.
That sword of discord is going to come like an angel of light, like they want to help everything, like they want to help get the family together, and the only thing they want to do is get bits and pieces, and they may act like they're working with the family while they're there, but when you get home, ring-a-ling-a-ling-ling, look, I want to talk to you about something. You remember when they said this here? You remember when they said this here? You remember how they did this here? Remember? Well, I didn't know the truth of this. You know what you need to do? Hang up on that sword of discord.
Pastor Flowers, they'll say, if someone stood on the pulpit in the church and said, y'all, I know that there are people, as soon as you get out of church, there are church members that are going to call you and start backbiting and criticizing what was said. And the preacher said, and you need to hang up on them or you need to bring them to the pastor. Amen, praise the Lord.
Yeah. Hang up.
Shouldn't that same thing go?
But when
it deals with a family member, and when you're trying to get the family together, that one wants to call you on the phone and talk about, they sound like they bossy, don't they? They sound like they want to take over. You need to hang up the phone and say, look, I'm not in this. We're trying to get our family healthy. And all you want to do is stay in discord. If you can't call me with something that's empowering and something that's encouraging for what we're trying to do, don't call me on that no more.
And the scripture said there's 6 things the Lord hate, yea, 7 that, there's an abomination to it. And that's he that soweth discord among brethren.
Absolutely.
There are people that the enemy will use in the family to sow discord in the family to keep the family from coming together as a strong family unit. Absolutely. A strong family unit is hard to break.
Absolutely.
You might not agree with each other all the time, but the love is there.
Absolutely.
But there's a sower of discord that try to make sure that love is not there so that the family won't be strong.
You know what? A question was asked: do you just pray for family? Do you just pray for that family member? Yes, you do. You do pray. But you pray for the family member, but you start with one family member at a time till you start working and help get their heart in a position to understand we need to work on our family. And then you don't stop the action. And then you do. After a time when you think it's settled and you think you have what you need to have established, call everybody in. Don't let that one person stop. No. You call everybody in and you make it plain. We're coming against the enemy. And I'm not talking about that person being the enemy. I'm talking about the devil himself. We're coming against his desire to sift and kill out the family. He wants every family to go into. He wants them to be what you call it now, where it's no more of them, or it's very little of them. Extinct. Endangered species. He wants the family to be an endangered species. He wants us to become. He wants to become the church, and the only family we have. And listen to this, y'all. And this the enemy. This the enemy's work. This is not God's design. The only family. The enemy is satisfied with you having, and that being dysfunctional as well, because it's dysfunctional when the other one's not involved. Only family you have is just church family. Only people you feel good around is just church people. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a church family. That's not what I'm saying. No. But you came from a family before you got involved in your church family. You came. Your last name was not church. Your last name was not whatever name of your church is. Whatever last name is of your pastor, that's your pastor. Like my children, their last name, but that's your pastor's last name. But his last name is still not the name of the church. You want to be able to develop a family that comes to Christ, that is healthy in Christ, and that family has the same blood that runs through your veins and not just the blood of Christ that runs through your soul. And we need to work on that. We need to develop that stuff. And we need to learn how to forgive and stop being so angry.
Yeah.
Brown used to say, stop being nasty. I'm telling you, stop being angry. Stop being angry.
Stop being angry. Choose to stop being angry.
Absolutely.
Choose to be healed. Choose to stop holding on to things. Choose to stop looking back. As long as you're looking back, you're never going to go forward.
Absolutely.
They did what they did. They made you feel the way that you feel. They may have said what they said. They may have, took advantage of you. They may have borrowed money from you and didn't pay you back.
Right.
Release them.
Absolutely.
Release them. I'm telling you, as time go on, the love of family means more than any of those things.
Absolutely.
To be able to sit down and hug Uncle John and hug Aunt Mary and Cousin Lucy and sit down and laugh and play games and stuff with them, it means more than what you're holding on to.
Absolutely.
It's worth working on.
Absolutely.
Make it a plan.
Absolutely.
Make it a plan of yours. I'm going to make sure
Do a
that
plan.
for much is within me.
Absolutely.
And we're going to try to bring the family together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Pastor Flores, if you can read that and stuff, we're going to deal with this area about bitterness and anger and all that kind of good stuff.
Bitterness and unforgiveness breaks the spirit.
Yes.
When you're constantly angry and upset, you will find yourself quickly sapped of emotional and spiritual energy.
That's breaking the spirit. You won't find any reason. That's the same thing in a marriage. If you're angry with your spouse, no matter how much that spouse tries to reach you and bring you to a place of reason and encourage you to fight for what's between you two, when your spirit is broken because you held on to offenses, because you would not deal with it quickly and stuff, you don't feel the energy to fight for it. You gave room to it. Same thing in your families. How long are we going to bury people in our families before we realize that I didn't really know the person that I'm over here. I'm coming to the funeral of a person that has the same last name or part of a family lineage, but I never knew them.
Never knew them.
And not because I couldn't have an opportunity. It's because my spirit was broken with some other family member. My spirit was broken because of what somebody else did and stuff. And I didn't go get my healing, and I did not deal with it. And now I lost a precious opportunity to know who this person is. One of the worst things, and if we can hit with something before we go on past, if we can deal with something that's a little bit more tender. There may be people in your family that's going through some tragic things. Some family members may have been awesomely dysfunctional, and you may know where I'm going here. Where they've done some things to certain family members in their family because they were dysfunctional. They were sick. Some things they needed some healing from and stuff. And that may have isolated you to trust any men or women in that family because of what that one dysfunctional person does. And you have legal pain. I'm not saying this that you should just dislodge or disperse the pain. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is don't let their behavior keep you a prisoner because of the dysfunctional behavior towards you. Heal yourself. Get healed. Let God heal you. When I mean heal yourself, is give yourself to God. Let God heal you. It was a tragic thing that you went through. You don't owe anybody in your family or anybody in your life the dismissal without health or without healing. What has happened to you? What do you mean, Apostle Flowers? You don't owe anybody just to say, I'm just going to act like it didn't happen. I'm not saying that. It happened. It really happened. Whatever happened, the abuse, the rape, the molestation, it happened. And you should own that it happened. And it's not to be ignored for the health of the family. But it is for you to be healed for the health of the family. For you to be healed for the health of the family. Not to be held hostage in it. And stuff. Everybody's not going to understand. You don't have to try to convince people to understand that it happened. And sometimes what happens is, Pastor Flowers, in some of these families is that we get bitter because we can't convince other family members that this happened. And then we say, well, if they don't believe that this happened, they don't believe that this person did this to me, I'm just not going to have any bother with them. Don't let that drive you like that. Don't let that make you a victim or a prisoner of someone else's dysfunction, because there's some family members that you can be a benefit to as well as they can be a benefit to you as well. So don't hold yourself outside the family because of what somebody else's dysfunction went into. And here's some of the things you will understand too. Maybe some of the people, not always, but some of the people in your family that may not understand or may not want to believe what you said, may be in denial because somebody didn't believe it happened to them too. There may be some things. I'm not saying it's always the case. Please, again, I'm not saying it's always the case. But sometimes you may understand that there's some tragic things that is happening to them as well, and they were thrown under the bus, so to speak, or they were ignored, or they were rejected, or thought that maybe they were lying or making it up and stuff. So again, we can't hold family lines or our connection and what we can do as a benefit outside of our families and stuff by being held hostage and not get the healing that we need. And again, I want to say this one more time before we move on. By no means are we to just ignore or deny that something happens for the health of the family. Right. But for the health of what we are in the family, right, we need to get healed. We need to, we need to get healthy and stuff. So we need to hit every area. If we're going to develop families, we need to hit every area. And that means those who denied because of pain or denied because we want to keep the family name, you need to go back and you need to reach out to the people that you knew they were telling the truth. Mm-hmm. Let's hit that too. You knew they were telling the truth. Yeah. But for the sake of the family, I can't say, God, if I admit that she was right or he was right, then our whole family's going to go under. Yeah. And now what has happened is you made them feel like they were lying, and they almost felt like they were losing their mind. Yeah. And now you lost a family member.
And they didn't feel like family.
Absolutely. So if it takes you going back and helping them heal by if it is acknowledging, if they want just to understand that that you don't have to even go into detail, but baby, I knew you weren't lying. And I just couldn't because of my pride or because of my desire to want to say my love for them, and I just want to say the family name, and it was wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm not defending it again. It was wrong, but I'm telling you, I want our family whole, and if it means whole, let's address where you're painting at. Let's address where you were offended at. Let's address where you've been, where you've been just whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Let's address it and let's just move on. And it takes everybody on both sides to be able to come to a place and say, baby, you lost your mind. It was us that was losing our position. It was us not holding up to our position as gatekeepers and as lovers of our family and stuff. So, but being bitter and being angry is a popular poison. Yes. And a prison for those who captured it. Okay, hon.
The sad thing is that many don't realize the emotional and spiritual impact that bitterness and unforgiveness has made until they are confronted with loving outside of advertisement.
Absolutely.
Meaning, loving beyond the pain that your emotional caution signs flash when someone tries to get close to you.
Absolutely. And this goes right back to what we were saying earlier. There are those who have had things happen to them or things that... There are some that past fathers that just gotten fed up. Yeah. I'm tired of dealing with this family. Yeah. Every time it seems like something like it's going right, all of a sudden somebody does something stupid or says something stupid, here I am, hurt again. Stuff. And those caution signs will continue to come until you deal with them and understand, wait a minute. Sometimes it means I got to confront some things, but I got to get past this. Mm-hmm. I got to tell them that I'm not up to that, but I got to get past this. I got to tell them that's not me, but I got to get past this and stuff. So that means you got to be able to love beyond your pain point and thrust and progress beyond your pain point. Because if you can never love or progress beyond your pain point, you'll always be sitting in pain.
Yeah, and then realize also it's not all of them.
Yes.
Sometimes we get to the mentality where the pain and the hurt is so deep and so real that we feel like, well, it's all of them. I'm not going to fool with none of them.
Amen.
It's all of them. All of them don't like me. All of them has an issue with me. All of them, I ain't fooling with none of my family. That's how come I don't fool with my family. I don't fool with... we hear people say that. We think to ourselves, do you know what you're saying?
Right.
You're denying a part of you.
Absolutely.
That you want to try to pull together.
Absolutely. I want to say this before we get to the next one. I'm glad to see family members, our family members that come through. Isn't that one of our cousins, Diamond? Good to see her. Yeah. But we've seen quite a few family members come through, and we don't take that for granted. We're so glad to see when family members come through. We do appreciate it. And we thank God.
That's my sister.
Candy. Okay. Oh. All right.
Yes.
Family just coming on through here.
Family's important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And this doesn't make it any less important. Wherever we're at, it's always here. Mm-hmm. And because it's always here, it makes it most important and stuff. So thank God for you.
My sister got my book. I wonder if she's enjoying it. Has she got a chance to get to it yet?
Amen.
Hopefully she's still on, and hopefully she'll drop me a line and let me know, if she got a chance to crack it open and look at it a little bit.
Amen. Amen. God bless you. All right.
Number 2, it says, living up to the love that you display at a distance and not run behind walls when someone attempts to cross the invisible emotional lines that only you can see. Sometimes we don't realize that we do have invisible emotional lines.
Absolutely.
This far and this close to me, but no farther.
Absolutely.
You know, any closer to me, I'm not comfortable with that.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm going to put up my walls.
And you know, I think that's part that comes with, you got to understand what you're saying when you say, baby, I love you. When you look at a family member in the face and you say, I love you, you got to understand that's not an invitation to get away.
Right.
That's an invitation, come on, get closer, get to know me better, get to understand me better. Come on, spend some time, spend some space with me. And stuff. And sometimes we say that casually because it's the right thing to say. It's the fitting thing to say. It's the fitting thing to say, like we say in church. Sometimes we excuse me, after service, so we'll roll by to somebody, how you doing? Love you. God bless you. And the question you need to ask yourself,
do you really?
If that's really love, do you ever stop and say it? Do you ever spend time?
Do you really own it?
Right.
How do you display it? If you say you love me, then you love me in word and in deed. How do you display it?
Right. Are you
more told me, but how do you display it?
Right. Yeah. Are you more comfortable with me by you saying keep going and I'm not in your space than you are if I got in your space? It's like saying and we do this often in society is how you doing, and we keep going, you know, because we don't stop to find out what's actually behind that how you doing. And those who we say it to understand
it becomes a greeting.
Yes, it's just a greeting or passive salutation. It's not anything that's intimate. It's not anything I don't want to know anything about you. It's just something I'm saying. How you doing?
If you actually stop and begin to say, well, this, you'll realize that they don't have the patience to hear sometimes. Sometimes they don't, but there's some people that ask you, how are you doing? It really
they didn't want anything with that.
Yeah, no.
You know? So if we're gonna say we love family and stuff, you got to be able to stand them crossing that invisible line, as we said here, that only you know.
Yes.
You're the only one knows that there's an invisible line. You mean I love you. I love you at a distance. I love you because we share a bloodline, or we share a last name, or we share some kind of connection that makes us family. I love you there. But if you cross that line where I have to bring evidence to that, I have to feed into that and stuff, the invisible line becomes a stumbling block to me, and a stumbling block to us, and I'm uncomfortable, and my heart is stuttering at displaying what I said out of my mouth. We have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. We can't just be mouth lovers. We have to be somebody that loves from the heart, being able to give of ourselves, give from ourselves, and receive from each other as well.
Amen.
Okay.
Number 3, when you tell someone that you love them and that you want to work at being closer as a family, you don't do so out of duty alone.
Right.
You know, well, we just the right thing to do.
Right.
But is it the real thing that you want to do?
Right. Right. There's a time, I believe, Pastor, that our love and fellowship and communication with each other, especially as family, and just as special as husbands and wives, that it goes beyond, it transcends just because we share a last name, a bloodline, or some kind of connection that makes us family. But it's intimate. You abide here. You have space here, and you can use this and stuff. It means you're in my heart at all times. I'm thinking about you, and when you need an ear, you can have it, and stuff. When that's there, when those things are accessible to family members, we don't just say those things, and they're not just a I have to. They're I want to. You know, I want this. I want to be this to you because I want you to be that to me as well, and stuff. And family members don't just say things because we're committed by family structure or by blood or by whatever makes us family, but we do it because you mean more to me than just someone who was birthed by someone who made you a relative of mine. But now we're connected, and we're connected not just from what my mom was to your mom, or my whatever was to yours, but we're connected here. And this is the thing that causes us to endure even when hardship, troubles come, and even when times we misunderstand and offenses come. Because you're here, this always is more powerful than any offense or any challenges that may come against us as family members.
I had 2 questions here.
Ask on, baby.
One of them was, just what if the person that you need to get close to is giving you an unreal presentation of love? You know, you need to get close to them, but they're, I guess, like we said here, they got their walls up. How do you get past that? You want to love them. You're having issues yourself, and you have walls yourself, and they have issues and they have walls. How do those two people connect?
First, one, don't over or underestimate what you're getting, from them. Don't expect anything other than what they had a propensity to give. Then also, don't expect anything from them that you're not willing to give because of your walls there too.
Wow.
So that means while you hope they're dealing with them, you gotta deal with yourself too. And you don't expect evidence from them to make you feel comfortable in a place that no matter how much evidence they're gonna show you, because of your walls, it's not gonna make you do anything more. So deal with yourself as you pray and hope that they deal with them, deal with what they have, and own your love. If you own your love and they own their love, and in the healing process, both will get to a healthy place, and they won't be behind walls, peeping and finding out if it's safe to come out and play and stuff. So it takes both working on each other and being honest about not what's in the other person, but what's in them. And when they do that, the process of healing will happen.
My second question was, how do you love words? How do you handle words of love, but no emotional connection that should be present with the words of love? You know, you're putting yourself out there, and they're saying, you know, I love you, but there is a missing component of emotional connections, and you know that there's a missing component of emotional connection, and it almost feel like they're lying to you. You know, they don't really. It almost feels like, you know, something is not right here. How do you handle that? Do you go, you know, do you just confront it, or do you take stock in what you know and then move on from what you know, not what they're showing you?
Right. One, I think what has to happen is like we answered the first one. The first one is, don't expect anything from them that you know they cannot give. There are people that are in our lives, will come into our life, that all the things that they may say, you know they don't have the propensity, the emotional propensity to give you that. So you understand that. Secondly is, when they're telling you something, in all honesty, not all the time, some of the times, they may actually want to act out what they're doing. But if you're going to be a good family love partner, you have to, and I'm not talking physical, I'm talking emotional. If you're going to be a good family love partner, you have to take the time to find out what is behind their inability to practice what they're saying.
Wow, okay.
Because it may not always be deception. They may not always be just telling you stuff that they don't want to do. They're just trying to tell you something.
They may really want to love family.
They may really want to love family, but there may be another issue there. There may be something else going on that they may be fishing to find out. Can they share it with you?
Should you probe?
Well, only probe as far as it's comfortable for them, for you to probe into. And that is just taking time, praying for them, asking God to give you seasonal words and seasonal interactions and engagements and stuff, and ask God to lead you and help them. But make sure also that you're asking God to help you to make sure you're setting the platform that they can understand and discern that it's a comfortable place with you and stuff. And don't be so in a hurry to find out if they're lying or not, but find out if it's not a lie, but find out if it's just a lack of ability, if there's a lack of strength, or whatever the issue may be, or struggle that keeps them from performing what they're professing in their mouth.
If you're constantly asking them out to lunch or dinner, you know, to try to set up a scenario where you can deal with, you know, what you're feeling, and they're constantly using excuses, or you feel they're using the excuses not to come, should you continue?
Well, again,
should
pray.
you just periodically just ask and touch base?
Periodically let them know that, because it may be, if there's a struggle. Now, I cannot say that there may not be some people that just don't want to be released. They just like their position of loneliness, excuses. But there are some, but there are some that there may be something deeper. And I would not give up just because they make excuses, or I would not give up. Hey, Talisha, I would not give up just because Bishop Molot, praise God.
Praise God.
I would not give up just because they seem to have a struggle accepting what you're offering them and stuff, because they may be wondering if I show them some difficulties, they're gonna run away like everybody else did.
Yeah.
So it may be they're trying to test if you are a safe landing, and that's okay if when they discovered your safe landing they do come out, but it's going to take your patience. It's going to take patience on your part, prayerful leading from God,
Yes.
and understand that everybody in your family is not trying to
Should we
trick
pray and ask God for a season?
Most definitely.
Ask God to season the right time to be able to, just if you don't do nothing but just go out to McDonald's
Absolutely.
and sit down and talk, or go wherever,
Absolutely.
even if you don't approach the subject. Just
Absolutely.
go out and just enjoy each other's company
Absolutely.
until you're comfortable enough to be able to approach the
You
subject.
said it. Absolutely. The last thing you need to do is jump on them when you
Yeah.
haven't built a relationship
No.
that they feel safe enough to come out.
Sometimes it's just go out girls or
Absolutely.
white guys, or just go somewhere.
Well,
just
family, just
enjoy family,
Absolutely.
enjoy, like you would do with a friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, hon.
Okay. Number 4, determine whether the energy in your efforts are owned by real love or an effort to drown out what you are usually too bitter and angry to carry out. Because this energy will wear out against a stubborn challenge to accept it, and the inner war that affects the desire to work on what's needed for the family to get to a healthy place, and now you're back at the beginning.
It's almost like we were saying before we got to this point. We got to make sure that if you're working to get the family healthy, if you're working on bringing everybody together, make sure that you're working on it because you're trying to drown out that you are emotionally lazy, that you are emotionally distant, that you don't really want anything to do with the family, but you're trying to prove to yourself or prove to whatever that you really want the family to come together. And that's not you. And after a while, you'll wear out not only you, but you'll wear out the person because you'll push them to accept what you're trying to give them. And it may be other issues that keep them from accepting it. And absolutely, when it's not real on your part either. So we need to get healthy ourselves to help our families get healthy. Our time's winding up, but I'm going to finish this before that part right there.
Okay. This part here says, seek to understand when our anger is illegitimate and when our anger is legitimate. Illegitimate anger holds on to something that should be, can be, and has been given an opportunity to be dealt with.
Absolutely.
And because it's illegitimate, it is aggressive, it is selfish, it is inconsiderate, and seeks to punish the one that they're angry with. It is the kind of anger that makes the person act like they had no part in what now exists as an irritant to your family or to the marital relationship.
Hey, Tony, yes. The thing, Tony, just jump back into, the thing is that we want to understand is that we can be angry when there's a past the time when we've been given an opportunity to deal with it, when we're given an opportunity to reason with the person, and we're just angry for the sake of being angry.
Yeah.
That's illegitimate anger. When you're just frustrated, when you could have solved it, you could have dealt with it, it could have been squashed, it could have been healed, it could have been healthy, but you just want to, almost like the scenarios we used when we first started doing this program, where it talked about this family and this daughters and a mother who all they wanted to do was talk about how angry they was. And how frustrated it was with their mother, but they didn't want to do anything to heal it. They just
Not
wanted
saying
her
the problem wasn't real. The problem was real, but how it's handled and dealt with,
It's the problem.
yeah.
Absolutely. All they wanted her to do was hurt.
Yeah,
All they wanted to do was tell how bad she was.
That's
illegitimate anger. All right, honey, we're going to wind up on this.
Okay.
Legitimate anger.
Legitimate anger is anger that exists because of offenses that are continued practice against the connection of other family members without the offender taking any responsibility to make changes. But by no means should it be thought that this position, although legitimate, should be a position that any family member should remain in. But it is a position where a decision based on the first 3 points should be made. Again, you cannot just remain angry and go forward and beyond. You can't move forward by looking back, by focusing always on the problem, the issue.
Whether, again, bottom line is whether legitimate or illegitimate anger, you can't just stay there.
Yes.
You cannot just stay there. Legitimate anger is, it can be anger based on behavior that's continued to repeat over and over again and stuff, and you're just angry about it because the person doesn't want to change. That's legitimate. But the bottom line is this. You still have to do your best to deal with the problem that's going on, to remove it from the family, remove it from the relationship and stuff. Because whether legitimate or illegitimate, you still got to move on. Amen. All right, listen, before we close out, I want to remind you about a couple of things. And we believe, in all honesty, that it'll bless you. Y'all, you know, I don't know, and I'm not gonna guess what other people may sell books for. That's not my job. But my job is to tell you what our heart is. We want to empower people in the areas that these books that God has given us this information to write. Yeah. We do time empowerment not because we want to be popular, not because we want a whole lot of doors to open and stuff. That's not it. Not saying we're going to doors that are open. People invite us to their churches to do seminars, relationship teaching. But our objective is every opportunity that God and moment God gives us to talk into the lives of those that are in family and marriages. That's what we want to do. Yeah. We want to do God's will in empowering families and relationships, and we want to do what God has given us to empower ministries. And this book, this book that we talked about earlier, the book that Pastor Flowers has written, Prophetic Ministry Empowerment, Keys to a Successful Prophetic Ministry, written by Prophetess Ruth Flowers. This was given because God wants to empower prophetic ministry, not just from the prophet, but to the people that the prophet speaks to, so they can understand the pureness, the righteousness of the prophetic ministry. This book will bless you. It will certainly encourage whatever your prophetic ministry. And we encourage you to go to Amazon.com and order. I want to say this quickly. Also, the two books, Securing Covenants for your relationships, putting everything on the table. I'm telling you, it's a blessing. We talked for years on time of empowerment. Next one, intimacy of a healthy relationship, clarity, openness, and honest attention is the key. All these books is kind of hard to see because of the light on it, but I guarantee you they will bless you because it's about ministry, not just about trying to sound wise or trying to get in your business. God got in our business with this.
Yes,
and
he
so
did.
we encourage you.
Yes, he did.
Go to Amazon.com and get these books. I guarantee you they will absolutely be a blessing to your relationship. Again, somebody might be just getting married, somebody may be a budding prophet. Get these books and encourage them. Look at the other two books that we got on Amazon.com.
Also be looking for the book on depression.
Hey, Talisha. Tony Talisha speaking. Amen. Listen, God bless you.
I saw Trudy a little bit earlier.
Yeah, Trudy was on here. Listen, do us a favor. If this has been a blessing to you, share it, please. Continue to share it. Continue to let people know. In 2 weeks, I think it's the 27th, I think if I'm not mistaken, of December, we'll be back on with our next broadcast. I hope I got the right date right, but it's 2 weeks after this. Oh, Alfonso, how you doing? God bless you. He just had, if I'm not mistaken, I think they just had an anniversary. That's family, Trudy.
Trudy, that's your hey, baby.
So, if I'm not mistaken, I think they did. Lovely family he's got.
Yes.
Alfonso, good to see him. It's good to see how the young man has just taken off and God has blessed his life and stuff. But listen, thank you. We do appreciate you joining. If you didn't hear the whole thing, please go back and listen to it. Share it with somebody else.
Family's important.
Oh God, it is. It is.
Anybody you know that's struggling in family, you think this talk that we had tonight might be a benefit to them, please share this with them.
Amen. Well, listen, we love you. God bless you. Thank you so much, all family that joined in. Those who are not just, first our family, you know who we are, our daughters, our daughter-in-law, or our cousins, and so forth and so on. But those who are family, you know what I mean. We've seen you grow up.
And those who don't know, the one that came up and said, Annie Atkins, that's my sister.
Absolutely.
That's my blood sister.
Yes. So we thank God. So we thank God for you. Listen, we just certainly enjoyed it. Pastor Flowers, I enjoyed being with you on tonight here.
Oh.
It was.
You gonna fix me something to eat after we leave?
Well, I gotta drink though.
Okay.
Is it my turn to cook?
Yes,
Tony, ain't it your mom turn to cook?
No, it's your turn to cook.
No, I don't know. Maybe I should have asked. Let's take a vote. All right, Tony Talisha, and I'm the tiebreaker. Who turned?
No, that's not fair.
Who turns to cook? Come on, hurry up quickly before we get ready to go out here. Tony Talisha, take a vote. Come on. Trudy, you can join in on this vote if you want to. Come on now, y'all, quickly. We got to get ready to get out of here. Whose turn is to cook? What's that? Tony, I don't know what that Tony said. What's that Tony said? Hey, how you doing, Fonzo? That's certainly family. Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely. Talisha said daddy. I don't know what Tony said. All right, Trudy, you got to break the tie.
So many people's coming on there. I'm so sorry you missed the broadcast. You can go back and listen at it. Hopefully it'll be a blessing to you.
Trudy broke the tie. Look at that. I got to cook.
Somebody said pop-up. Yep, it's pop-up chance to cook.
Oh, Lord. I'm going to delete
No,
her now.
but Trudy, it is. It's
I'm
pop-up
going
chance.
to delete Trudy because she didn't.
It's pop-up chance to cook.
Well,
Or is that Ron?
I don't know. One of them said, well, Ryan might have said pop-up. I don't know. But, oh, man, we're excited about, let me say, I got to say this quickly, too.
Yes.
We're excited about Ryan's choice of where he's going to college. We're praying.
Yes.
We're excited about the seasons that he's had. And
My
also,
God,
we're so
awesome
proud of him
season. Yes.
out there in
Awesome young
Louisiana
man.
and stuff.
And love the Lord.
Amen.
My God.
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
mind expressing himself. I love
Absolutely.
that.
Yes. So listen, we love y'all. Listen, God bless you. Please share this. That's right to listen that Giants. I want to hear nothing about the Giants. Listen, we love y'all, Dallas Cowboys. Listen, we love y'all. God bless you. Please share this if it's been a blessing to you, and please join us again on the next broadcast. Oh, Ryan said, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Ryan,
That's
I can't
right.
believe you
I
did
love
that.
him. I love
Ryan,
him. I love
Ryan.
him. Hey.
Ryan.
See, he knows.
I'm going to have to call you. We had to get a call. I had to call you now. Listen, God bless y'all.
God bless you.
Talk to you again on the next broadcast.